when we were in government, we had constant feedback. It would always amaze me at how quickly our system got feedback. It was literally within days, we would get a pressure coming at us, whether it was from farmers, whether it was from laborers, whether it was from big business. There was a feedback loop. And it was what amazed me is how quick, how effective, and how powerful it was. It was right in our face. And we almost couldn't avoid it. And that feedback loop is now shut. So the model that the government uses and some of the ideas that they project has shut down that feedback loop, right? You see it in when Gauri Lankesh gets assassinated, the activist. You see it when people are beaten up. You see it when people are attacked. These are all, you're shutting down the feedback loop. And what has happened is that the government has shut the feedback loop, so the farmers have no other way except to come out onto the street. I mean, we sent messages to the leadership of the nation saying, do not do this. This is a very serious problem if you're going to do this. Our Chief Minister of Punjab wrote multiple letters saying that please have a discussion, engage with these people. And absolutely, it is important to reform agriculture, 100%. But you cannot attack the foundation of the agricultural system. And you certainly cannot do it without having a conversation with them, because they're going to react. It's the same idea of the lockdown. We do a lockdown immediately like that with no warning. You just shut the whole country down. One of the largest countries in the world, one of the most complex countries in the world, has the harshest lockdown imposed immediately. In fact, now it's come out that even the cabinet was not asked, even the other institutions were not asked. So it's a style of government. And it comes from a centralization of power and a belief that centralized power understands everything. It's if you look at when the lockdown happened, I started saying, look, please, and I said it again and again and again, I said, please do not respond to this centrally. Respond to this in a decentralized manner, devolve power to the states, devolve power to the districts, and let them engage with this problem. Because what Karnataka needs is completely different than what Tamil Nadu needs, is completely different than what UP needs. And if you impose a blanket requirement, you're going to impede their fight. And it took the government a good couple of months to understand that. By then, the damage was done. So the ability to put your message across so forcefully when you control the media automatically stops you from listening. And it puts you in a mindset of, okay, I control the media space, I control the narrative, so I don't really need to listen to anybody. And that's how you operate. And I remember that our entire job was listening for the feedback. We would be waiting when we did something to say, okay, who's going to respond? And now what do we do? That's missing in this government. And that is the case with GST, that's the case with demonetization, that's the case with the lockdown, that's the case with the farm laws. It's a style of governance. We're fighting 2 elections right now, right? I'll give you an example. And in Assam, the gentleman who's running our campaign over there has been sending me videos of BJP candidates running around with voting machines in their cars, right? And he's screaming at the top of his voice, saying that, look, I've got a real serious problem here. But there's nothing going on in the national media. There is a wholesale capture of the institutional framework of this country. Complete. There is absolute financial dominance that the BJP has. Right? There is absolute media dominance that the BJP has. It's not just the Congress. The BSP is not winning an election. The Samajwadi is not winning an election. The NCP is not winning an election. To fight elections, I need institutional structures. I need a judicial system that protects me. I need a media that is reasonably free. I need financial parity. I need a whole set of structures that actually allow me to operate as a political party. I don't have them. So, what's the answer? The answer is that when you behave the way the BJP is behaving, a lot of people get discontented very fast. And that's what's happening. And so the answer then is to bring these people together. But to understand that we are no longer in the same paradigm we were before 2014. We're in a different paradigm. We are in a paradigm where the institutions that are supposed to protect us do not protect us anymore. The institutions that are supposed to support a fair political fight do not do so anymore. So you can say we are in a democracy, but I'll give you an example. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's app was on one of the biggest operators automatically downloaded. Now, can you imagine if in the United States, one candidate had his icon next to the iMessages icon on every single phone, and the other candidate didn't? What would you call that? That's what's happening here. Right? So there is a complete control of the system. But what's interesting to me is that the speed with which people are getting discontented is massive. It's happening very quickly. And so the opportunity for us is huge. We have to redefine ourselves, though. There is, of course, in my view, a definite space for the private sector. But there are a lot of spaces in India where the public sector has to operate. We, in a country like India, if we want to educate our people, it has to be done by the public sector. It can't be done by the private sector. They can have a small part of it, but they can't do it. And the same with healthcare. So I think government should focus on the fundamentals, on infrastructure, on the essentials, and the rest of the stuff let private businesses operate. First of all, the Chinese are currently occupying Indian territory as we speak. Their troops are in our territory, right? There's not a peep about it in our media. I mean, can you imagine what would happen in the United States if the Soviet Union had occupied parts of the United States? I mean, you would hear nothing but that all day long, but there's not a peep here. And the reason that China feels they can do this is because they see a weakened India. They see an India that is internally divided. They see an India that is not acting strategically. They see an India that is acting tactically and is not able to see the larger picture. I am absolutely convinced that a strong India, a united India, and an India with a clear strategy has no problem dealing with China. I think the Chinese can sense that there is weakness in the Indian leadership, and that is why they have moved.
What would you prioritize in terms of policy proposals when you become prime minister?
I would move from just a growth-centric idea to a job-centric idea. I would say we need growth, but we're going to do everything to push production and job creation and value addition, right? Currently, if you look at our growth, the type of relationship there should be between our growth and job creation, between value addition, between production is not there. The Chinese lead value addition. Nick would disagree with me, but the Chinese lead value addition. I've never met a Chinese leader who says to me he's got a job creation problem. I've never met the guy. This is astounding to me because this is the only problem we deal with. Right? So we have to get on that bandwagon. Also, we have to protect, in a country like India, the minimums. So you have to put floors under people. You cannot say to people in an urban environment that, listen, we're not going to give you hospitals. Your children can't have education. So a minimum floor, and then moving the country with one, forcefully saying, okay, this is a serious challenge now, like the United States is sort of moving towards. What I like about Mr. Biden's plan is that they clearly recognize the problem, that they've understood that now there's a problem, right? That penny hasn't dropped in India. India is still fooling around and dilly-dallying and messing about and, killing people and doing all sorts of stuff that is not central to this thing. So I would say, go to our people and say, okay, now next 15, 20 years, serious value addition, serious job creation. I'm not interested in 9% economic growth if I don't see job numbers right next to it. If you give me 9% economic growth and say, oh, we don't have jobs, well, sorry, I don't like that. That doesn't work for me. So that would be the thrust of it. But putting it into a mission mode, right? Like what John F. Kennedy did. We got to go to the moon. And then the whole nation is, we got to go to the moon. So that's where we got to go. And I think that there'll be different variations of it in the United States and in India. But both those pennies have to drop together. But may I make a comment?
Please. You get
I don't hear anything from the US establishment about what is happening in India. If you're saying partnership of democracies, what's your view on what's going on here? I fundamentally believe that America is a profound idea. The idea of freedom, the way it's encapsulated in your constitution, is a very powerful idea. But you got to defend that idea. And that's the real question.